will have a significant impact on other people's lives, right? In some way or the other. तो मैंने काफ़ी सोचा, मेरे already काफ़ी businesses हैं यहाँ पे. I have a real estate asset management company. I've got a commodities trading company. I've got a commercial broking firm. I invest heavily into real estate here. We do asset management as well. I have my podcast, like you said. I have an entertainment company. And all of this is under the Forttuna Group. I used to always notice कि जब आप किसी employee को 50 लोगों या 100 लोगों के सामने एक सर्टिफिकेट दो और बोलो कि आपने बहुत अच्छा काम किया है, the smile on their faces, the way their productivity increases, the way they, it makes them feel so good about themselves. I'm not being oblivious to the fact that obviously, not everyone will respond to it that way, but most people did and most people do. I speak heavily on people over profit. And I'm a firm believer of that fact, right? कि आपको हमेशा आपके साथ जो काम कर रहे हैं, आपके लिए नहीं. I always consider them to be working with me and not for me. And for those people, I think it becomes really important for them to get that recognition, that pat on the back. And in my pursuit of identifying excellence, I stumbled upon this idea of creating a global jury-led initiative of Forttuna.
Hello and welcome to Upodd Uae. We are here in Dubai recording Raul Handa. He's a first-generation entrepreneur, founder, leads the Forttuna Global Group and the Jibber Jabber Entertainment, changing the landscape of the entertainment industry here in Dubai. He is passionate about podcasting, also has his own podcast, the FFTB Show. And he's a great friend, and we are so excited to have you, Rahul, on our show today.
Thank you, Rashi.
Namaste.
Namaste aapko bhi. Thank you very much for having me on the show. I think it's funny when you say first generation, it makes me sound really old. But yes, I'm really happy and I'm really grateful that you invited me. Thank you very much.
Okay, to start with, Rahul, I want you to share with our listeners your journey. I know you've been places and you've had great experiences, in your professional life. So let's hear some great journey.
Journey, interesting question, because I think people are more interested in the destination, है ना? लोग हमेशा यही बोलते हैं कि जहाँ रास्ता हो उनको उससे फ़र्क नहीं पड़ता है कि इंसान ने किस हिसाब से travel किया है. What they're more concerned about is where they are today. I think that's something we cover in our podcast as well. But thank you for asking that question. So I was born and raised in the Middle East. In Kuwait. I've spent a significant amount of time here. I've spent a significant amount of time in the US, in India, and now I'm back to where I belong. लोग पूछते हैं ना कहाँ से हो, जैसे हमारे यहाँ पूछते हैं ना आप कहाँ से हो, तो लोग बोलते हैं हाँ मैं यहाँ से हूँ, मैं वहाँ से हूँ. Like my wife's from कानपुर, तो she says मैं कानपुर से हूँ. तो जब लोग मुझे पूछते हैं आप कहाँ से हो, it's a very difficult question to answer because if I say मैं कुवैत से हूँ, फिर उनको एक्सप्लेन करना पड़ता है मैप पर कि कुवैत कहाँ था. कुवैत तो लोग बोलते कुवैत कहाँ है, मैंने बोला अरे मिडल ईस्ट. बोलते दुबई, मैंने बोला नहीं दुबई नहीं, दुबई के बाजू में कुवैत होता है. But anyway, so I've been in the corporate world for a really long time. I started my career in operations. I was a part of a KPO since inception. I led that, moved on to another business, and eventually, after so many years of managing operations, etc., I was most recently the chief operating officer of a market research company that was based out of Reston, Virginia, in the US. So I visited our office there, and उससे पहले भी I've been to the US several times. और फिर मैं थक गया, मैंने बोला बस हो गया अभी नौकरी, है ना, क्योंकि छोकरी मिल गई थी. तो अभी वो बोलते ना आदमी को दो ही चीज़ चाहिए, एक अच्छी नौकरी एक अच्छी छोकरी. तो छोकरी मिल गई थी, अभी नौकरी बची थी. नौकरी मैंने बहुत साल की, and I thought कि I want to do something more. I want to do something that is that will have a significant impact on other people's lives, right? In some way or the other. तो मैंने काफ़ी सोचा, मेरे already काफ़ी businesses हैं यहाँ पे. I have a real estate asset management company. I've got a commodities trading company. I've got a commercial broking firm. I invest heavily into real estate here. We do asset management as well. I have my podcast, like you said. I have an entertainment company. And all of this is under the Forttuna Group. So I wanted to do something that, would get me grooved in, make me talk to people. I love talking. It's obvious. I think by now people would already know. आपने एक सवाल पूछ लिया, अब मैं आधा घंटा खाने वाला हूँ आपका. But jokes apart, I wanted to do something that was going to create a long-lasting effect on people. और in my corporate journey, एक corporate में कहावत होती है, जहाँ वजन वहाँ भजन. वो एक कहावत होती है. तो आप कितने ही साल corporate में काम कर लो, आप जैसे जैसे elevate होते हो, you get into a role in a position where it becomes a thankless job, where you're expected to deliver your best, right? You're expected to be a certain way, or you're expected. And there's no recognition that you get, right? Positive reinforcement le lo, ya appreciation le lo, ya recognition le lo. And that's something that I realized was a huge miss, because we used to do R&Rs in my previous company. I used to do a lot of employee engagement activities. लेकिन उसमें I used to always notice कि जब आप किसी employee को 50 लोगों या 100 लोगों के सामने एक सर्टिफिकेट दो और बोलो कि आपने बहुत अच्छा काम किया है, the smile on their faces, the way their productivity increases, the way they, it makes them feel so good about themselves. I'm not being oblivious to the fact that obviously, not everyone will respond to it that way, but most people did, and most people do. I attended a lot of corporate awards. I've been a keynote speaker. I've spoken, I speak heavily on people over profit. And I'm a firm believer of that fact, right? कि आपको हमेशा आपके साथ जो काम कर रहे हैं, आपके लिए नहीं. I always consider them to be working with me and not for me. And for those people, I think it becomes really important for them to get that recognition, that pat on the back. Similarly, there are many accomplished people in the world that are doing some amazing work. And in my pursuit of identifying excellence, I stumbled upon this idea of creating a global jury-led initiative of Forttuna. And that's been my journey so far.
First, when I met him, I called him Rahul. And then I read his name as Raul. So I said, no, it's not Rahul, it is Rahul. And I think it's actually cute, because I don't know what's the reason. We will be asking him why he names himself Raul, not Rahul. So, okay, tell us first, then I'm going to finish the question.
So, great question. My mother named me Rahul because she was a big Shah Rukh fan, unfortunately. My daughter is also a very big Shah Rukh fan, unfortunately. I'm not, he's a great actor, but I'm not a very big fan. And fortunately, since I was here in the Middle East, and when here in the Arab world, right, they don't say Rahul, they say Raul. That's how they pronounce it. So the H is silent, right? For example, they don't say Pepsi. Arabs, they say Bepsi. And I was with, most of my friends were Lebanese, Egyptian, Kuwaiti, Qatari, etc. And they would always call me Raul, and slowly and steadily, I don't know, at some point in my school documentation, the H just sort of, the guy who was writing it was an Arab, and he just forgot to put the H, so it just sort of carried on from there. And yeah, so that's the story of Raul. That's one of the reasons. I'm very happy because आज आप बॉम्बे चले जाओ, आप दिल्ली चले जाओ, आप राहुल चिल्लाओ तो 100 लोग ऐसे इकट्ठा हो जाएंगे. So, and I honestly am very sensitive about my name. एक किस्सा मैं सुनाऊंगा, तो मेरी वाइफ अगर ये सुनेगी तो वो बहुत चिढ़ जाएगी एक्चुअली. तो there was a girl I used to date back in the day, और मेरा बर्थडे था, और उसने मेरे लिए केक लाया. और मेरी जो वाइफ है अभी, हमारा उस टाइम ब्रेकअप हुआ था, और मेरी एक्स गर्लफ्रेंड वाज ट्राइंग टू मेक अप विद मी. तो उसने केक भेजा था जिस पे उसने राहुल लिखा था. वो मैंने केक काटा नहीं, वो मैंने केक देखा और ऐसे उठा के फेंक दिया. So I'm a little, and I have OCD. I have obsessive compulsive disorder. So It was really bad back in the day. Now it's better. I'm more sane now. My wife has made me a little more sane. But yeah, so that's the story behind Raul. People call me Raul, Raul. तो मैंने सब हो गया, रोल भी हो गया, रॉल भी हो गया, सब हो गया. But yeah, it's Raul.
So, this is interesting, Raul. I want you to tell us more about the Fortuna Awards 2024. I think there is a lot of noise about it in the market. People from all over the globe, I think they have been nominated. And I think this is one of a kind of an awards, and I think you did tell me the emotional story behind it. So tell all our listeners about it.
So I'm very close to, everybody that I connect with, I meet. I sort of make, professional relationships, bolo aap, yeah, you call it personal relationships. I'm somebody who goes above and beyond in trying to, make an impact in people's lives. That's my nature, right? Even with the people that I've worked with in the past. Like I said, in my pursuit of finding excellence, I stumbled upon this idea of Fortuna. Fortuna stands for the Greek goddess of fortune. God has been very fortunate and kind to me. Have not had an easy road. It's been gruesome and tiresome and challenging, but God has been very kind. And we wanted to do something for healthcare professionals, primarily because of my father. My father is an orthopedic surgeon, and he's been was in practice for a really long time, 41 years in practice. He passed away last year, unfortunately. And in 2022, when we were getting out of COVID, if you think about COVID, ना मैंने ना किसी इंसान ने कभी इमेजिन किया था कि घर से भी काम हो सकता है, right? It changed people's mindset. So it changed the way people thought. COVID came, everybody said masks and doctors and injections and all of that. And in 2022, COVID vanished. Even the movie Vaccine Warriors, nobody wanted to watch because nobody cared. COVID came, people solved it, people have moved on. You're a healthcare professional, your job is to save our lives, right? And it was very personal to me is because, like I said, because of my father and because I know, the kind of effort everybody put in for COVID. And with COVID, when it ended, people just went back to their normal lives. People forgot about, everything that they had to do. Yes, while COVID was happening, they did COVID Warriors in India and here in the UAE as well. And they identified people from all walks of lives who had an impact during COVID. But what about our healthcare professionals? Now, the funny thing is, when you talk about healthcare, every person that I spoke to about healthcare, they said doctors, surgeons, nurses. But like I said, again, in my pursuit to find excellence, I found that there are people who do audits. There's a CEO, there's a CIO or a CTO, there's a CMIO, there's a CMO, there's a marketing guy, there's a tech guy, there's an admin guy, there's a guy who looks at, hygiene and sanitation. There's so many people involved in making a healthcare facility work at its best. It's not just the doctor, right? It's also the anesthesiologist. It's the, the physiotherapists, it's everybody. It's a collective effort, right? Even with people from the allied health services like the emergency medical treatment service, the ambulances, all of that. And that got me thinking even further. And that's why we thought that we will do a global, jury-led, merit-based award show only and only for healthcare professionals. Healthcare professionals. Now, if you look at the world, when we did our competitor analysis, there are a few people doing this in India for healthcare professionals, but their model and the way they work is different. I don't want to get into the details of that. And there are other, jury-led global award shows, but that's only for doctors, right? It's not for maybe a startup that's trying to solve a problem. Right? And I'll talk more about in my pursuit of finding people who are doing amazing work and their impact, the kind of people I've met. तो हमने ये किया, हमने ये सोचा 2022 में हमने इसको conceptualize किया, and we did our first edition last year in 2023. We received over 2,200 nominations from 49 countries. Our jury came in from 11 different countries. Our winners came in from 9 different countries. We were covered by 160 plus media publications. हमारा Forbes का अभी article निकला है. And we had 60 plus sponsors and partners, 400 plus attendees from 17 countries. And we had the honor and the privilege to have the Crown Princess of Dubai, Her Excellency Sheikha Mahra, as one of our chief guests. We also had another chief guest. I'm sure you're familiar with him, Jimmy Mistry. He's a very good friend of mine. He was very kind enough to come and show support. We had Mr. Ashish Tripathi, who founded Tizar Labs, and they have already invented, patented, and created a cancer testing kit where you can test for cancer at home, Rashi.
Wonderful.
And with that test, you can also identify if you're going to get cancer in the next 12 or 18 months or something like that.
Oh.
That's the kind of people that I got to meet and talk to and understand the kind of work that they're doing. There was a lot of support, obviously, from my team. My wife, Aditi, she is the chairman and managing director of all our companies. So she takes the brunt of the board. I look at operations and everything. But yeah, that's what we did last year. It was full on entertainment. We had Sunny Leone as our DJ. We had Krishna do a performance. We had the Meet Brothers who came and performed. We had Shata Hassoun, who was a Moroccan Iraqi singer, who came and did a performance. And we did it in the middle of the desert. So we took up an entire desert and we set it up and we did it in the middle of the desert. And it was a beautiful night. And the response was overwhelming, and people wanted us to do this again. So we're doing our second edition this year. That's where Fortuna Global Excellence Awards 2024 comes in. We're doing it on the 7th of December this year, in 2024, for healthcare professionals. And we're also doing it for business leaders like yourselves, right? Like you, an accomplished leader, versatile, you're a mother, a daughter, a wife, an entrepreneur, a podcast host, too many hats, right? Interesting story. And I'm sure life has not been easy for you. So, and that's where we are. So our Business Leaders Edition is happening on the 6th of December, 2024. And the response has been great. We've received nominations from 61 countries this year. So I have nominations from Cameroon, from the Democratic Republic of Congo, from Kenya. I've got Mexico. I've got Argentina. We've got nominations from Russia, from Ecuador, Cambodia, Vietnam, so from all parts of the world, Australia, New Zealand, the West, Europe, all of it. And that's basically what Fortuna is all about. It gets, it's an amalgamation of excellence. It's a group of really, really, really intelligent people who are doing some groundbreaking work, but at the same time are underrated. And we want our platform to be the platform that sort of, elevates them, gives them the vision. So yeah.
और मैं सबको ये बताना चाहूँगी कि they are so transparent in everything, because this is a personal experience. मुझे बहुत से awards personally भी मिले हैं. सबका सब कुछ बोलना तो नहीं चाहूँगी, लेकिन they are absolutely transparent in what they do, how they do, and एक चीज़ सब कुछ लिखित में, emails पे. So and I think that is the correct way to do it also. And congratulations Raul for that, because he himself looks after it and he's very approachable. And this is something which I love about entrepreneurs who are approachable. Because अगर आप business कर रहे हैं और आप business man या woman होकर approachable नहीं है, तो फिर आप business कैसे करते हैं? So that is the base for my next question. So I want you to speak about the Jibber Jabber Entertainment. You've been in the entertainment industry for a while now. What is the change and where is it going? What is the future in the global market?
Great question. Before I answer that question, I want to take it a little behind and tell you that आज entertainment का definition change हो गया है पूरी तरह से, ठीक है? पहले भी शायद कुछ हद तक था. लोगों को लगता है entertainment या मुझे लगता था काफ़ी समय तक कि एंटरटेनमेंट सिर्फ हंसी मजाक या नाच गाना होता है, लेकिन आज इस सोशल मीडिया की दुनिया में, डिजिटल दुनिया में हर प्रकार के चीज़ें वायरल हो रही है. आप वायलेंस ले लो, आप किसी के रिलीजियस सेंटिमेंट्स हर्ट करने वाले वीडियोस ले लो, और वो भी एंटरटेनमेंट है लोगों के लिए, अनफॉर्चुनेटली, है ना. तो ये जब मैंने इस इंडस्ट्री को बहुत ध्यान से देखा, एंड दैट्स व्हेन आई रियलाइज्ड दैट एंटरटेनमेंट की परिभाषा लोगों ने बदल दी ओवर अ पीरियड ऑफ टाइम, राइट. जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल आप क्यों की सास भी कभी बहू थी, वो आप देख लें, वो एक तरह का एंटरटेनमेंट था. और आज आप देख लें, मोर और लेस उसमें इतना एवोल्यूशन हुआ नहीं है, इट्स प्रीटी मच द सेम. लेकिन आप उस समय डिस्कोज होते थे, आज क्लब काफ़ी इवॉल्व हो गया वो पहले से, है ना. वी डू अ लॉट ऑफ क्लब शोज, वी get artists connected to clubs, and we do a lot of club shows. And in our pursuit of identifying artists versus people, I have realized that आज का entertainment इतना global हो गया है ना. तो बंदे को इंग्लिश नहीं आती होगी, लेकिन उसे दुआ लिपा कौन है पता है, उसे शॉन मेंडेस कौन है पता है. वो इंग्लिश बोल नहीं पाता होगा, लेकिन गाना आप गवा लो, उससे लिरिक्स पता है उसको सारे, है ना. आज आप इलेक्ट्रॉनिक डांस म्यूज़िक ले लो, आप ट्रांस ले लो, आप टेक्नो ले लो, रैप ले लो, हिप हॉप ले लो, R&B ले लो. अगर आप मुझे बोलते 15 साल पहले कि यार इंडिया में रैप इतना आगे तक जाएगा, आई वुडंट बिलीव इट, राइट. बट अंडरग्राउंड आर्टिस्ट ले लो, और जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल अभी ये सीधे मौत एक बहुत ही ट्रेंडिंग रैप है एक आर्टिस्ट का, एंड पीपल आर गोइंग क्रेजी. और उनका अभी बॉम्बे में कॉन्सर्ट हुआ था, एंड पीपल वेंट मैड, बिकॉज ऑब्वियसली वो रैप सिर्फ ऐसा नहीं कि वो कुछ भी बोल रहा है, राइट. इट हैज़ मीनिंग, इट हैज़ सेंस, इट हैज़ रिदम. आप इंडी पॉप ले लो, राइट. इंडिया का इंडी सीन कितना आगे बढ़ गया, इंडिपेंडेंट इतने आर्टिस्ट आ गए हैं, एंड दैट इज़ माई टेक ऑन हाउ एंटरटेनमेंट हैज़ चेंज्ड. पहले सिर्फ टीवी माध्यम होता था एंटरटेनमेंट का, और रेडियो. टुडे राशि, video is the most consumed media in the world, and that is why you and I are sitting here. That's exactly why you and I are sitting here, right. This is entertainment for some people like myself, hearing or watching informative podcasts which are unfiltered, जहाँ पे जो इंटरव्यूई है उसकी ज़्यादा बात हो रही है, इंटरव्यूअर की नहीं. इफ़ यू नो व्हाट आई मीन. आजकल सारे पॉडकास्ट ऐसे ही हैं. बट एंड लाइक आई सेड, दैट्स द चेंज. तो आप वीडियो ने इस प्रकार से लोगों को इनग्रेव किया है. बट ये प्लस साइड है, राइट, कि आज हमारे पास रेडियो है, मीडिया है, डिजिटल है, इंटरनेट है, टीवी है, नेम इट, हर प्रकार हर जगह एंटरटेनमेंट हो रहा है, राइट. लेकिन इसका डाउन साइड ये है कि आज हमारे पास इतने ऑप्शंस आ गए राशि कि हमारी अटेंशन स्पैन जो है वो 5 सेकंड के ऊपर की नहीं है. तो आप कोई भी डिजिटल मार्केटियर को आप ले लो, आप भी डिजिटल मार्केटियर हो, वो यही बोलेगा कि आपको ऐसी ऐड बनानी है जो पहले 5 सेकंड में जिसका सेंस बन सके, या जिसका कोई हुक हो, राइट. एंड that's where I see entertainment going today, and that is how it has come. So to sum this up, right, I think we were at a nascency stage 20 years ago when it came to entertainment, and today also we are still in our, I'd say Series A or Series B stage. We haven't matured entirely. There is so much that India as a country, even UAE for that matter, podcast is a big scene over here, but there isn't, equity in how entertainment is sourced by people. So, most people here are Netflix and digital streaming platforms. Not a lot of people are into radio over here, versus in India there are a lot of people who still avid listeners of radio. So I think India has a much larger scope of reaching that maturity and eventually reaching the saturation of entertainment, where people are looking at everything. People are consuming video, audio, GIFs, memes, pictures, all of that. And that's where I think entertainment is going to go.
So, to sum it up, I think Raul is trying to say that storytelling has come from 5 minutes to 50 seconds to 5 seconds, and I think that's a fact because our reels are just for a minute, and everybody tries to come and fit their mind into a reel. This is absolutely wonderful and very, very correct, Raul. I want you to now tell everybody, how do you balance your day? You are into too much, like your hands are full, your plate is full, and you are also this Della Leaders Club member, and I think that group is really great. So tell us more about it, and then how is it adding value to your life and people's life?
So I want to first answer Della Leaders Club. I've been to Della is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful resort in Lonavala while I was in Bombay in my previous stint, in my previous organization before I became a full-fledged entrepreneur. I would always take, my wife, my daughter, and my golden retriever. His name is Maui. We would all four go to Della. They have a beautiful presidential suite. Jimmy designed it really well. And that's how I bumped into Jimmy. I met him once and, he told me this is something that I am doing. I was familiar with the concept is because I was approached by YPO and EO in the past. And I'll talk a little bit more about that as well. But, I attended one of their pop-ups at St. Regis in Bombay. And I loved the whole why because everybody that I met there was a first-generation entrepreneur. 95% of the people I met there were first-generation entrepreneurs. That is not the case with other communities, right? I would always feel out of place if I were to participate in another community like Della, which consists more of second-generation or third-generation entrepreneurs. And the reason being is because the thought process that you have of building something from scratch versus developing something that already exists is very different. Your approach is different, your methodologies are different, etc. Della has been very instrumental. I attended the forum training once I became a member of the Dubai chapter. I attended their forum, and in that forum I learned the most important thing that I would always teach other people but would not implement it on myself is that it's okay to be vulnerable. As a leader, right, when there are people looking up to you, you're expected to be at your best every day. So no matter if you had a fight with your wife, right, or you're facing a personal problem at home, or your mom's unwell, or you're disturbed, or or you had a bad day, you have to put your best possible self forward. और बंदा एक दिन करेगा, 2 दिन करेगा, कब तक करेगा, राइट? लेकिन उस फोरम में मैं जितने भी लोगों से मिला राशि, सारे के सारे लोग काफ़ी ओपन थे अपनी वीकनेसेस को लेके, काफ़ी ओपन थे अपने चैलेंजेस को लेके, बिकॉज दे वांटेड हेल्प. आप किसी और जगह पे जाओ ना तो लोग बोलते हैं अरे सब बढ़िया है, सब परफेक्ट है, 5,000 करोड़ का टर्नओवर है, बहुत लाइफ इज़ गुड. उसमें मैं क्या सीखूँगा, राइट? किसी और के फेलियर से ही तो मैं सीखूंगा ना, जैसे मैं खुद के फेलियर से सीखता हूँ. आई ऑलवेज बिलीव इन वन थिंग, वन मस्ट ऑलवेज मेक मिस्टेक्स. आप हर बार गलतियाँ करें, और मैं ये हर इंसान को जो मेरे साथ काम करता है मैं उसे बोलता हूँ कि आप हर बार गलती करें, लेकिन हर बार नई गलती करें ताकि आप उस गलती से सीख सकें. मैंने भी अपनी लाइफ में बहुत गलतियाँ की, आज भी कर रहा हूँ, लेकिन मेरा ये मोटो हमेशा रहता है कि अगर मैंने ये गलती इस बार की है, मैं ऐसी गलती आइंदा नहीं करूँगा. दैट इज़ माई लेसन. क्योंकि अ मिस्टेक इज़ नॉट समथिंग दैट यू डू ओवर एंड ओवर अगेन एंड इट्स नो लॉन्गर अ मिस्टेक, राइट? So that's a little bit about Della. It brought out, the human inside leaders, right? जैसे आप कोई भी आज बड़ा लीडर ले लो, राइट? अगर वो कुछ गलत बोल दे, स्टॉक के प्राइसेस गिर जाते हैं, राइट? बोर्ड पैनिक में आ जाता है. तो उनको एक इमेज बना के रखनी होती कि आप ऐसे चलें, आप ऐसे दिखें. बट डेला में ऐसी कोई जगह होनी चाहिए जहाँ पे इंसान अपनी प्रॉब्लम्स ओपनली डिस्कस सके विदाउट थिंकिंग कि कोई मुझे जज करेगा या इसके कुछ कॉन्सिक्वेंसेस होने वाले हैं. एंड दैट इज़ व्हाट डेला इज़ फॉर मी, राइट? तो मुझे कभी भी प्रॉब्लम होती है, मैं फ़ोन उठाता हूँ, मैं जिमी को मैसेज करता हूँ, बोलता हूँ जिमी ऐसा है, मुझे आप गाइड करें. एंड वो कितने ही बिजी हों, वो 10 मिनट निकाल के बोलते हैं हाँ बट बताओ क्या हो गया, राइट? एंड that's how grateful I am that I have a mentor like Jimmy in my life, and that's how thankful I am to Della and to Jimmy for introducing me and inviting me to the community. So that's a little bit about Della Leaders. To answer your second question, how do I manage all of this? My plate is always full. थैंक गॉड इस सवाल का जवाब मैं इस समय दे रहा हूँ जहाँ मेरी वाइफ नहीं है, क्योंकि क्योंकि ये सवाल का जवाब मेरी वाइफ को बिल्कुल भी पसंद नहीं है. हमारे काफ़ी बार, एंड आई एम बीइंग ऑनेस्ट अबाउट इट, हमारे काफ़ी इस चीज़ को लेके झगड़े होते हैं कि तुम्हारी पहली बीवी तुम्हारा काम है. आई एम अ वर्कaholic. आई लव वर्किंग. आई लव, दैट्स द ओनली थिंग that I feel I can, do to make most of my time. I'm working on managing life, and today is Gen Z or Aves, I don't know what alphabet we are at today, but जो भी आज की generation है, I know उनको work life और switch off करना चाहिए और leisure and all of that, but मैं ऐसा हूँ नहीं. और लेकिन ऐसा नहीं कि मैं 20 घंटे काम करता हूँ तो मैं अपने सारे जो कॉलीग्स हैं जिनके साथ मैं काम करता हूँ, मेरी टीम जो है, मैं उनसे 20 घंटे काम करवा रहा हूँ. ऐसा बिल्कुल भी नहीं है. I manage my day in a way, I actually manage my day in a way where I make a plan of my entire month, because most of my time is now taken by Fortuna Global Excellence Awards. I spend 20 days in a month on Fortuna, the first 20 days. And then the last 10 days of the month I spend on all of my other businesses. I give about a day or two to all my other businesses to see what they're doing, how they are. Because the team in the other businesses is set. Those businesses are old. I started those businesses while I was in the corporate world. So I've nurtured them, they've grown, and now they're basically on autopilot, right? But Fortuna it's just 3 years old. It's our third year now. And it requires a lot of effort, and we have a great team. We have a big team. So that's basically how I manage my time. And in the first 20 days, I am just speaking to people about 20 hours a day. So I start my day at about, 5, 6 in the morning, because that's when the interviews are scheduled, and it ends at about sometimes at 1 in the night, sometimes at 2 in the night, because I'm speaking to people from across the world from different time zones. But I think, like I said, what keeps me going is the stories that I get to hear from all these people that I'm meeting. And it's great the way you're asking me all these questions about my life, and it's just taking me back, and I'm just remembering all my struggles and and what I went through, and it's sort of bringing me all those thoughts. The same way when I ask these people about their lives, they have this very different smile on their faces, and they remember what what they've achieved and how did they get there. And that's basically how I manage my time. Yeah.
So when we had reached out to Raul for his podcast with us, he told us that he believes and he's committed to 4 P's: people, process, product, and project. I, being his friend and also the host of the show, I added another P to it, that is podcast. So he has 5 great P's he's committed to. So I want you to tell your success mantra, because these 4 and 5 P's, it is entirely about business, how to run a business, and then about people, managing people, projects, and podcasting. Over to you.
So it's very simple. If you have the right kind of people, they will follow the right process. If they follow the right process, they'll ensure that the project goes straightforward, smoothly, and successfully. And if the project is going smoothly, your product will be perfect. That's my mantra for excellence, and I firmly believe it, because ये मैंने अपने जिस कंपनी में मैंने काम किया है, मैंने ये अप्लाई करने की कोशिश की है. पहले आप लोगों को स्ट्रीमलाइन करें, उन्हें उनकी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज़, उनकी अकाउंटेबिलिटी एंड ओनरशिप बताएं. हर कोई बोलता है कि यार तुम्हें तो ऐसे काम करना चाहिए जैसे ये तुम्हारी कंपनी है. आप कितना ही बोल लो, आप कितना ही ये कोशिश कर लो, एट द एंड ऑफ द डे वो एम्प्लॉय कितना भी ट्राई कर ले, शायद ही वो ऐसे आपकी तरह काम कर सकेगा या आपकी तरह सोच पाएगा. आप अगर, एंड और एक चीज़ है राशि, विच आई बिलीव इन एंड विच आई वांट टू टेल हियर, इज एक्सपेक्टेशंस लीड टू डिसअपॉइंटमेंट्स. that is something that's really, really, really important, which is something that I've learned in my personal life and my professional life, कि अगर आप किसी से हद से ज़्यादा expect करें, आप disappoint होगे, हमेशा, right? So coming back to the 4 P's, that is my mantra. You identify your people, make them accountable, give them the ownership, don't micromanage them, give them the faith and the trust. And if they make a mistake, don't abandon them, right? You hold their hand, tell them how to do it right. They will make sure that they follow your process. A process in everything is really important, right? Even when this podcast, you have a process, you have a checklist, right? I was just speaking to your friend outside and she said, when I'm moving house, I have a checklist, right? Everybody has a checklist. Everybody has a process that they want to follow. Make sure you follow the process. Your project will be successful. And if your project is successful, your product will be successful. And your podcast will also be successful.
Definitely.
Right?
And I think he's a passionate podcaster, so he understands the nitty-gritties of podcasting as well. Okay, Rahul, what is your one, I would say, a message to all the brands and the entrepreneurs out there?
Well, I've got a personal message, and I will use this as an opportunity to also, obviously, inform people about Forttuna. My personal message to every individual is that start taking your life in your own hands. I learned this a long time ago. आप अपने जीवन के शिल्पकार खुद हैं. तो आज के टाइम पे सोशल मीडिया हो या कोई भी रीज़न हो, हर कोई अगर आप पूछो, अरे मेरा बॉस ऐसा है, अरे यार ये ऐसा है, अरे यार वो ऐसा है, अरे ये प्रॉब्लम है, मेरी फैमिली ऐसी है. People have an answer कि why they are not successful. My personal suggestion is to people is to take life in their own hands, right? Don't forget to dream. And I just met a German doctor 2 days ago, and she, I do asset management consulting, and she wanted me to, she asked me a question, should I sell this? She has an asset that she wants to sell. And I said, do you want to? She says, I don't know, I'm confused. And I said, I'm not going to give you an answer to that. This asset is very close to you. Do what you think is best. But once you've taken that decision and once it happens, don't regret it, right? And that's how it is in life. If my wife were here, she would tell you, and she'd probably start crying. We've had the worst possible days of our lives, emotionally, financially, personally as well. But she always says कि अब हम rock bottom पे, अब इससे नीचे कहाँ जाओगे आप? इससे तो ऊपर ही जाना है. And that is my personal, message. And professionally, I would like to invite entrepreneurs, business owners, brands, to come and participate at this year's Fortuna Global Excellence Awards. It's going to be a beautiful night. We've invited bureaucrats, diplomats, senior execs, people from big companies, people from small companies that are doing some amazing work. It's a great opportunity to network, to do your own personal business development, to improve your brand's online presence, to improve your own personal brand, online. And it's not only about recognition, or it's not only about the award. Fortuna is all about the experience. So I know I would want to use Rashi's, medium. Thank you so much for having me here today, Rashi. It's very kind of you, and that too for arranging this at such short notice. And I want to use Rashi's platform and her medium of Kya Matlab, Upodd Uae, to invite all of you who feel that they have a story to tell, to use our platform and come tell that story. Because at Fortuna, we want to be able to give you that opportunity where you can come and talk about your journey from how you started to where you are today. So yeah, that's that.
Upodd Uae, Season 1, A Cup Full of Passion. I think that is the name that Ranjana Chhabra has given us for this season because she's hosting. But since Raul just mentioned about Kya Matlab, because this is a Kya Matlab initiative, Kya Matlab network, our entire group and our entire Our brand is very thankful to him. And I think, Raul, I would request you to say these lines after me, because I think anybody who comes to our podcast usually says this, and I want you to repeat after me.
Sure.
कुछ बातों का मतलब,
कुछ बातों का मतलब,
कुछ मतलब की बातें,
कुछ मतलब की बातें,
क्या मतलब?
क्या मतलब? क्या
And
बात
yeah,
है?
great.
Thank you.
Great. So it was a great talk with Raul Handa, an entrepreneur, passionate podcaster, a very, very, very beautiful soul, empathetic towards businesses and business owners. Get in touch with him. His details are available on the post, on the podcast and on the post, and he's open to collaborations. Rahul, आपका बहुत बहुत thank you again.
Thank you very much, Rashi.
Thank you so much, Raul, for coming for our show and for sharing your lovely story, your inspiring journey with us. We'd like to know how your experience has been with team in Upodd, and any kind words that you have to share for us, for our team, and for this experience.
I think as a fellow podcaster myself, I can understand the amount of effort and the amount of pain that you guys have to go through. For you guys, you create your entire schedule around other people's schedule, and that's very difficult. That's fun. I love the setup. It's very beautiful. I love what you guys are doing. I think it's really important for Upodd to continue to do what they're doing, is because, like I said, I was telling Rashi that this is also a form of entertainment today. There's so much that I've learned by, hearing and watching other people's podcasts. I love the essence. I love the fact that it's very natural. When I asked Rashi, how do you want to go with it? She said, we'll go with the flow. And I love that, because, it sort of puts me at ease as well. I'm not reading, there's no script. I'm talking what's coming into my mind through my heart. And I think that's an amazing initiative, Ranjana, that you and Rashi are doing. And I think that there's so many other people that I will definitely recommend and connect you to, who should utilize this opportunity, to come and tell their story, because, आज के समय you have to be a great storyteller, है ना? कहानियाँ लोग हर एक चीज़, आप शार्क टैंक ले लो, आप कहीं भी लोग हर एक अपना प्रेजेंटेशन भी आज कहानियाँ कहानी की तरह सुना रहे हैं. So I think that that's the biggest learning that people can get, and I thank you guys for your simplicity, for you guys being so humble and kind and very patient, and doing this for me. Thank you so much.
Our pleasure, and thank you for the seeds of wisdom. With your kind words, we shall continue this journey and go a long mile. And thank you for all the support that you offer.
Thank you very much.
It was a pleasure having you.
Pleasure's all mine. Thank you.